It's YouTube babies. So some football happened this weekend. I was actually keeping tabs. I didn't watch them, but I was like, gotta see if America's team beat the hated Chiefs. They did not.
They did not. Nope. So first game was Commanders and Eagles. I had the Commanders, you had the Eagles. The Eagles won.
The call.
That was mostly wishful thinking on my part, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted Commanders and Bills. And then yeah, Bills and Chiefs. We both had Bills. The Chiefs won because of course they did.
Yep.
So, which dude, you look at the controversial calls. Every single one of them went to the fucking Chiefs. Every
Yeah.
single one of them.
Well, they have to.
Yeah.
They gotta get that Taylor Swift money.
So anyway, Super Bowl, Eagles and Chiefs. Who you got?
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. But here's my caveat. Tom Brady's gonna cash in the money in the bank briefcase afterwards with the Patriots, I guess. Like he went back to them in this fake universe and then he beats them
Okay.
because the refs are like, who do we help? They don't know,
Right.
So it has
Yeah.
to be a fair game.
Yep. Uh, it'll probably be the Chiefs. I hate to even pick one or the other, but I'm gonna say Eagles because at the very least, I wouldn't mind Saquon Barkley, who is the running back of the Eagles, get a ring.
Yeah.
I hope he runs for like 500 yards on the Chiefs. That'd be so awesome. So,
What is like 500 doable?
no.
Okay. I don't fucking know.
I'm curious what the most is. Adrian Peterson holds the record with 296.
But he was being guarded by like what, a 13-year-old boy when he did that. Or no, that was something different, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. That was against the Chargers in 2007.
Nice.
So anyway, I don't know. What's the most rushing yards that Saquon Barkley has? 255.
Okay.
So I'll say I hope he gets 300. Hope he breaks the record.
That'd be pretty dope if he did that in the Super Bowl.
It would be. Especially since the Chiefs, like obviously they're good all around, but their run defense isn't the greatest. So I feel
Yeah.
like that the Eagles are going to need to use him. They would anyways, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Dude, I saw a clip on Instagram where they were comparing Tom Brady to Patrick Mahomes. And it was like, don't ever compare Tom Brady to Patrick Mahomes. And it was just this fucking, like, Brady got fucking hit. Like, hard enough, his helmet flew off. He just gets back up and he's like, okay. He goes, picks up his helmet and he just keeps going. Then Patrick Mahomes, like, they do like this, like, really soft tackle on him. And it's just like, he's down. It's like, oh.
I know, dude. It's so bad.
It's like, I'm sure Tom Brady had those moments too, probably later on when, he knew how to milk the refs. But I'm still like, man, that first hit was fucking brutal.
Yeah. Oh, dude, if a hit like that happened on Patrick Mahomes, there would be a public execution at midfield.
Yeah.
Um, did you see the flop by Travis Kelce from the Bills
No.
game? So like Mahomes runs in a short rushing touchdown, and Travis Kelce like runs up to the defender and is like in his face, like screaming, talking all this shit, doing a little dance. The guy shoves him, he fucking flops and gets a flag.
Oh my God.
It's like, okay, I have no more respect for you.
Yeah.
None at all. You were such a bitch for that.
I picture like Taylor Swift, like you know that meme of the lady holding her husband and like it's like yelling at somebody.
Mm,
I picture that being like Taylor Swift holding him and making sure the
right.
refs do what they're supposed to.
It's so bad. I love all the memes that are like Patriots fans were sorry. At least you
Yeah.
guys weren't as insufferable as this. You were just good,
Yeah.
and cheated, but
Yeah. Yeah.
still.
Dude, so this is off subject, but I just gotta share this because I was like, I heard this story today and I was like, this is fucking wild. I don't know how true it is because it like took place in the 1800s, so it's like, who knows. But this church in New Mexico, they were building it. They had this like French architect to, design and build and all that shit. And he fucking died before he could finish this like spiral staircase that, went up to this one sanctuary spot. And so they couldn't find anyone to finish putting it together. And these nuns did this prayer, this 9-day prayer thing that I guess Catholic nuns do. And they prayed to uh, Joseph, because it was like, oh, this saint of carpenters is, Joseph. And so they prayed to him. And after the 9 days, this person comes in on a donkey and he says, hey, I've been called to work on your staircase. All he had were rudimentary tools. And after like a couple months, it gets put together and then he's just fucking gone. And then the nuns were like, okay, well, he didn't get paid. So I guess we'll just go to the lumberyard and see what we owe. Like nobody came here. God, and this wood wasn't um like from this area. So he got it from somehow got it from a different area. And they're like, it had to be Joseph. Like that's the only thing that makes sense. And then like there's people that were like talking like, we don't know who made this. But even by our standards of today, with all of the tools that we have, this is amazing. Like, there's one person's quote was like, "I'm a master carpenter, and I don't think I could do this with today's tools, let alone the tools he had would have had to have done this with."
What the hell?
Right? And oh, and he also it's all pegged, so it's not even a single nail was used.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I'm like, and like like I said, I Googled it after I heard about it, and I was like, yeah, this is the story, but it's also like I think it was like 1872 or something. So it's like, yeah, I'm sure there was some telephone game going on, but like the fact that like multiple carpenters are like, damn, they don't make it like this anymore, you know?
Right? Yeah, that's awesome. That's one thing. I think woodworking sometimes is severely slept on.
It's like some of that stuff is so cool, and it's the problem for me is like wood is so expensive now.
Hmm.
And so it's like, oh yeah, if you want to practice, boy, take a bank loan out because,
Yeah.
it's wild because I fuck up a
Yep.
lot.
Well, I mean, if you're not a master, and I feel like even they do, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just gotta have a lot of money for any hobbies nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, and then one other funny thing too, like for some reason my algorithm on Instagram is like a lot of um One Piece edits where they
Hmm.
put like different music to One Piece. I'm like, is this gonna make me start watching this 1,100 episode show? Because like I'm getting into it.
Yeah. Dude, I have no doubt that it's awesome. I have no doubt. I
Yeah,
just don't want to do
I know.
it.
Well, it like I would watch the dub, which that's the one thing I'm kind of worried about because like the dub voice actor is the same one that they got for Naruto, and that dub voice actor just like like I'm not gonna say they're bad because they're probably good at their job, but um just so annoying.
Like he does the same voice for both.
I'm assuming it's probably pretty close. Like if you can, like how Piccolo is also Zoro and Vegeta, where you're like, oh, and All Might, you're like, oh yeah, they're all the same, but a
Hmm.
little bit different. It's like, and I'm like, man, that'll be rough. That'd be a rough 1100 episodes.
Right. All right. Shall we?
Yeah,
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Two Worlds podcast. I'm Jake, and with me, as always, is the Wonder Woman to my Pegasus. It's Casey. What's up, buddy?
not much, man. What's up with you?
Nothing.
Yeah.
We've been
Did you did you
chit-chatting.
did you make me Wonder Woman so I could ride you?
Hell yeah. Um, okay. We've got some YouTube comments. And so Apex Prey has commented on a couple of our videos. I don't think it's anything that needs repeated. I just wanted to say thank you for
Yeah,
doing
thank you, man.
so. Appreciate you helping the algorithm. And then our good friend Mike commented on the last episode. He said, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. I had it for Super Nintendo, and it was probably the best out of all of the platformer X-Men games, in my opinion. So there you go.
I don't remember that one. I remember the picture because like I Googled it after I saw that. I was like, yeah, that picture 100% I recognize, but I don't think I've ever played it because I got a Super Nintendo way late in that, thing's lifespan and I never got that game, but yeah, I
Yeah,
bet.
that's one when I was asking you if Beast was in it. That's
Okay.
that's the one that I was thinking of.
Okay. So yeah, the I had the because we had the Sega Genesis growing up, and then we had X-Men 1 and then X-Men 2. X-Men 2 was like probably the better game, but X-Men 1 had the much cooler cover art.
Right. Different characters too, right?
Some of the same, some were different.
Okay.
But yeah, and then like I remember with X-Men 1, I don't think they did this with X-Men 2, but like you couldn't play as Iceman and you couldn't play as like Archangel, but like they were kind of like the power-up things. So like Iceman would come through and like build do like his big like walkway thing so you could then go on that instead and Angel would just come through and like shoot all the bad guys.
Oh,
So,
one of those kill everything on screen
yeah.
things. Yeah, that's cool. Archangel has always looked so cool.
There was one time, and I only know this because I had the trading cards where it would have been the 90s and he had the weird hair. Do you
Hmm.
remember that?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, that was like the only time where I'm like, what is going on with this weird hair?
The 90s, baby. That's
Yeah.
what.
It's like get a ponytail like an adult, sir. This is the
Yeah.
90s.
Like all the other characters.
Yes.
All right. Appreciate you fellas commenting on that. And or ladies, people. Appreciate you people.
Yeah, I don't know what you are,
Um,
Mike.
yeah, exactly. And now we're gonna do our trivia. I thought, fuck it. Let's just skip ahead to Spider-Man.
All right.
So we're gonna take a little break from Inhumans and
Let
Fantastic Four.
let us know down below if you're an Inhuman fan and you're mad about this. We'll go back.
Yeah.
Promise. We'll do double next week.
Yeah. I mean, there's like 1,000 pages in this book, so we'll get back to it.
Yeah.
Okay. And this one you might know, so let me know if you need the choices.
All right.
Which Marvel superhero or heroes guest starred in The Amazing Spider-Man #1 from 1963?
Oh, it's Fantastic Four.
It is the Fantastic Four. They are right there on the cover.
It always threw me off as a kid because like I always thought Amazing Fantasy was Spider-Man number one for like the longest time. Then
Mhm.
when I'd see it, I'm like, that's not right. And it's like, oh no, I just don't know as much as I thought.
Yep. And then your dad pushed you down in the dirt, said, "Shut up, nerd."
Yeah, pretty much.
Question two. Same rules apply. You might know this.
All right.
Who was the first supervillain that Spider-Man fought in the Amazing Spider-Man number one?
I think I know this. I think it's Chameleon.
It is Chameleon.
Okay.
Nice.
Man, that would suck if you're like the biggest Chameleon fan and you're like, I need his first appearance.
I know, dude. Well, same with Hawkman.
Yeah.
Or let's say you're the biggest Zatara fan. Do you know what book you have to buy?
Wasn't it Action Comics number one?
It sure is.
Yeah.
All right. When did J. Jonah Jameson first appear?
I'm gonna need some guesses on that because I got no idea.
Well, I didn't know. I also didn't look this up.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. J. Jonah Jameson. All right. Was it Amazing Fantasy 15? Amazing Spider-Man 1 first story? Amazing Spider-Man 1 second story? Or Amazing Spider-Man number 2?
I'm gonna say number two.
No, it was Amazing Spider-Man number 1 first story.
Oh, okay.
And what was his occupation when he first appeared? You want choices?
Yeah, I mean, is it editor of the Daily Bugle?
Yeah, it is editor.
Okay, I was like,
But it's like editor, reporter, soldier, astronaut. And I feel
because
like, well, when he first appeared, maybe it was something different, but
well,
I
I
don't think
was
so.
like the only thing that it could have been other than editor would have been like soldier. Because like the only reason why I say that is because have you read Marvels?
The Alex Ross thing?
Yeah.
No.
So like he's in it, and like if I remember right, there was a bit where he was like coming home from a war. I don't know which one. And so like I'm like I could see that being his first appearance and then him, being an editor.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Google is correct and I'm not
Yeah.
just a fool. Or there's an angry J. Jonah Jameson fan listening right now.
And he's just like, "Give me Spider-Man pictures."
All right. That's it for trivia, man. Nicely done. Feel like you did pretty well.
Yeah, I
And
try.
we will go on to the news. I've got one, and you've got a bunch, so I'll do mine and then let you do all yours.
Already.
So we talked about Neil Gaiman a couple of times lately. We don't need to get
Hmm.
into all the bad stuff that he allegedly has done, but Dark Horse this week has made public that they are breaking ties with him and won't be finishing the release of his current books that he has through them. So, I mean, that is whatever. I just think it's weird that they waited till now. It's like, yeah, I guess
Yeah,
more has come out now, but usually they're, right away, people are like, nah, we're done.
yeah. I mean, one, it's money, and then it's like it got too much to ignore. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
they're making good money, and they're like, well, it hasn't really been proven. There's not that much, and then it's like, oh well, here's a lot more, and they're like, well, shit, like that type of thing.
Yeah, but
Alrighty.
yeah, I guess we don't really need to say much more on that.
Yeah, I
So,
mean it's a shame that he was such a fucking creep.
agreed.
But oh, and here's something we can do just for fun. If you're a big Neil Gaiman fan and you're upset about this, we're both gonna recommend one comic that we think a Neil Gaiman fan would like that's not Neil Gaiman related that you can be like, "Oh, I check this out instead." So I'm gonna say because I talk about it all the time because I absolutely loved it. Grant Morrison's Animal Man, really anything by Grant Morrison. I mean, he's all or they're also, foreign, so it's very much the same thing.
Um, and I'll just say the other Sandman, Sandman Mystery Theater. They
Yeah.
crossed over a couple of times, but Neil was a fan of that series, and everybody knows it's, in my top 10. So yeah, give that one a read.
So give those a check out if you're upset by this and you need something to palate cleanse.
Hmm.
But if you're like really sensitive to animal related pain, Animal Man might not be the best because it starts off at leaning heavy into vegan ideologies. Butchered that. But it's one of those things where like when you first start reading, you'd be like, why did Casey like this? He eats more burgers than anybody. And then like as it goes, you're like, oh, this is weird. Okay, I get it now. Alrighty, but I'll start with like we got some like, you know, a lot of little bits here, but Supergirl started filming in London, and then we also got some casting for it. We got David Krumholtz and Emily Beecham have been cast as Supergirl's parents. I guess Emily Beecham is like a really good actress. I don't know anything she's been in. Like when I was looking at her IMDb, I'm like, I don't know any of this. But David Krumholtz, like when I saw his picture, I'm like, I don't know who this guy is either. And then they're like, he's in Serenity. I'm like, who was he in Serenity? He's Mr. Universe.
Oh, okay.
So, and like people are pretty excited because he's been in other things too that aren't Mr. Universe. So yeah, it should be fine. I don't think they're going to have huge roles as, Kara's parents. So,
He's just obviously time has passed between Serenity and now, but
yeah,
I was like, oh man, he's older now.
yeah. See that? I mean, like you say times pass, but it's like no one told Alan Tudyk's.
That's true. Very true.
Everyone else, they've told, but Alan Tudyk never got that fucking memo, I don't think.
Hmm. Well, I bet even the guy that played Simon still probably looks the same. He
Yeah,
has that air about him.
yeah. Um, oh, okay. And then Zach Kreger, the director of Barbarian, is going to write and direct the new Resident Evil film reboot. He also kind of said it's going to be way more video game accurate. So I don't know if you ever saw Barbarian. I didn't. A buddy of mine fucking loved it though, so might be good.
Barbarian.
It was a Justin Long movie. It's one of those things where I never looked into actually what it's about because people that watched it were like, you're better off not knowing, going in completely blind with this movie. So I don't really like, I know it has something to do with like,
Oh, okay. I just
yeah,
read the quick synopsis. I didn't see it. I
okay,
definitely heard about this when it came out though.
yeah. Um, Caitlin Devers has been cast in the Godzilla X Kong sequel. So that's actually kind of exciting. She's a good actress, which it's like we haven't had one of those in a minute. So we'll see how that goes with the Godzilla X Kong. Oh, but really quick, you excited about a new Resident Evil movie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You mad that Mila Jovovich might not be in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was gonna happen eventually.
Yeah. But yeah, the one girl, she was in a couple episodes of Justified, and she's a really good actress. So, and she's also in that one movie where it was like everyone was calling it like the girl version of Superbad. I'm blanking on what it was called now. It was like it came out. Olivia Wilde directed it. Um, shoot. But yeah, so she was in that movie, and then she's also in Last Man Standing, which you know, don't hold that against her.
Booksmart?
Book smart, yeah.
No, I definitely did not see this.
I hear it's pretty funny. It's one of those things where certain people were like, "Oh, gross, girls," and then other people were way like it seemed like kind of like just like how the hate sometimes disingenuous. It seems like sometimes the positivity is disingenuous, you know?
Sure.
Um, so yeah, we're getting some One Piece Lego sets, which I'm assuming like they didn't, what I saw it didn't say what we were getting from that, but I'm assuming it's gotta be like the pirate ship for sure, you know?
Yeah, I would assume so. Maybe the One Piece.
Ooh, I don't know, because I really don't even know what the One Piece is.
The One Piece is real.
Yeah, so there we go.
We don't know anything about One
Yeah,
Piece.
I know that there's 1100 chapters
Yeah,
and counting.
dude, Lego's done like a bunch of stuff with Nintendo. Like all the Mario
Mm,
stuff, which is what kind of geared towards little kids, but they've also done like the Great Deku Tree from Ocarina of Time. And Brielle has all of the um Animal Crossing ones. It's just like, man, that's just printing so much money, Those two
right.
things specifically, Nintendo and
Yeah.
Lego.
Yeah, no, it's like I never would have thought Lego would have became this much of a monster. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it's wild. And hearing
And
like
expensive.
yes, because like hearing Luke talk about, did I tell you about? Because he had the old slave one, like the original slave one that they made. It's worth so much money, not because it's like the slave one itself is good, but the Boba Fett's good. And so people will be like, "I'll
Mm-hmm.
give you like $500 for the Boba Fett." I don't know if it was $500, but it was like some. He's like, "I want to get rid of all of it. I don't want to just." I don't want to have just the slave one lying around with no Boba Fett. And so then,
Right.
he was having trouble selling it.
Well, so I've got like the original Naboo Starfighter. I looked that up once and that was doing something. And then I've got the first set that had Spider-Man and Green Goblin because of the Toby movies. Those
Yeah.
minifigures are like $75 a piece.
Jeez Louise.
I know.
That is wild.
And I don't want to get rid of them because they're really cool.
Yeah. Like I just picture you now like getting evicted and they're like, all you have to do is sell. You're like, they're
No.
really cool.
I just think they're neat.
Okay, so yeah, I'm really curious on your opinion on this. Robert Eggers, the guy that did Nosferatu and among a bunch of other shit, he is going to write and direct a new Labyrinth film. He said it's gonna be a sequel. So we'll see how that works.
I thought I read something different that he was doing a different movie.
What I read was it's gonna be a Labyrinth sequel.
Labyrinth sequel in works. Huh.
So
I
Jake,
I just don't understand why that needs to be a thing.
yeah, no, I 100% agree. Only plus side is Robert Eggers really likes working with Willem Dafoe. And think about how unhinged that'll be.
Yeah, it's just I don't want to I just don't want to revisit it
Yeah,
if it's not well at all. But if they were like, let's say David Bowie was still alive and they're like, okay, we're doing a sequel, I'd be way more open to it.
yeah,
But I don't know. Is it going to be about grown-up Toby? Is Jennifer Connelly going to be in it? Are they going to CGI Bowie in? It's like I don't know.
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Dafoe plays Bowie's part, you know, but
And
who
also,
knows?
he's kind of known for doing horror. So is he
Yeah,
gonna do that? Like with because like the Jim Henson Company would have to like okay this.
Hmm.
And I don't know that they would do that unless Robert Eggers is just like, no, I'm just a huge Labyrinth fan and I'm just gonna do like a faithful sequel, you know what I
I
mean?
mean, that's the thing though. It's like I wouldn't be surprised if he was a huge Labyrinth fan because it's like that's like the right level of like weird that it could make you into a big horror fan. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah,
like,
no, there's definitely creepy parts to that
yeah,
movie.
it's like if you watch that at a young enough age, you could be like just super into horror after that, you know?
Hmm.
So it,
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm gonna see it because you know how much I love Labyrinth, but
yeah.
I don't know that that it needs to be a thing.
Now, did you end up seeing Nosferatu?
Not yet. I
Okay.
will once it hits streaming. I just didn't want to
Okay.
see it in the theater.
Yeah. Because you just didn't want to like walk back at night
Oh
after
yeah.
seeing it.
I mean, if I'm gonna shit my pants, it's gonna be in the comfort of my own home, right?
Like it's one of those things where I'm just gonna say this, Count Orlok kind of looks silly. Like just in the pictures I've seen, because they gave him a big mustache.
Yeah. I mean,
And it
there's no way for him to not look kind of silly in my opinion.
yeah, but I mean the other one, he looked like a vampire. It looked kind of, like it yeah, I can get why it's silly, but it's not but then this one it's just like the big bushy mustache kind of threw me off. But I do
Right.
still want to see it. Okay. Here's more stuff that's comic book related. We'll start here. Captain Planet comic is coming from Dynamite. It's going to be in April. It's by David Pepose and Iman Casolis. David said on Twitter, it's like X-Men meets Avatar: The Last Airbender. Um, I'm kind of interested in this. Are you at all or
Nah.
nah? Yeah, like my one thing is this is my main problem with it too. It's like it looks like they're going to be taking it very seriously. And
Hmm.
you have to take cat like it's kind of like I mean that could work, but it's like Captain Planet is about as serious you need to take it about as seriously as like Showa Gamera. Like it needs to be kind of a joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To get its point across. So
I mean, like the cartoon had its serious moments, but it was never that serious.
yeah, I mean, and even when he had his serious moments, it was always just like after school special serious.
Hmm.
It wasn't
Hmm.
like, real serious. It was like, this kid's got AIDS and he can't play basketball. And then like Captain Planet shows up and he's like, yes, he can. Have you heard of Magic Johnson? See ya. And he flies away.
Right. Plus, isn't it like what are all the things? It's like earth, fire, wind,
Wind,
and heart.
water, and heart. Yeah.
Okay. It's like, come on. Let's not be too serious here.
Yeah.
We don't need the gritty heart.
And
I
like the
hope it
kid
does
just,
well though. It's just one of those things where it's like I don't I'm not that nostalgia bound to it, and also I'm reading so many fucking
yeah.
comics that I don't need to add that one.
Like, don't get me wrong. If it came out like on a week like next week, I'd probably check it out.
Well, fuck, if it was like this next week, I would too.
Yeah.
Because what else
But
is there?
yeah. So I mean like with that, I'd be like, yeah, that'd be fine. But really, it's going to depend on, like I said, the tone overall, because it looks serious, but that doesn't mean shit when you get a first look. So
Yeah.
we'll just wait and see. So this was kind of funny. Someone at like Scott Snyder posted on Twitter. He's like, I'm riding on the train. People ask me, you guys can ask me any questions you want, and I'll try to answer them. So someone asked, they're like, is there a villain that hasn't been revealed yet for Absolute Batman, that you can reveal to us? And he's like, Bane is coming. And then they're like, so with Batman as big as he is, how big is Bane gonna be? And he just replies, bigger. So I
It's
was like, that's,
it's the Kylo Ren meme. More.
yeah.
More.
It's like I'm the fucking character designer for the absolute Batman verse. It's like beefy boys. So yeah, that's pretty fun. I mean, I'm interested in seeing that big old beefy Bane, old double B.
Hey, real quick. I meant to say this during the comment thing, but a few weeks ago, Nick was like, "Hey, you guys should watch Creature Commandos." Well, I watched Creature Commandos up until the finale, I think is all I have left. It's good. It's really
Good,
good.
good.
It's funny, stupid violent, really
Yeah,
stupid violent, but it's not gonna like blow your socks off, but it's good.
yeah. I need to get Max back. I just, don't want to.
Yeah, well, I get it. I mean, I wouldn't watch it if I wasn't
Yeah,
sapping it from someone else, you know?
yeah. Oh man, that reminds me. Netflix really pissed me off because like I give my parents my Hulu and some of my other stuff, and they give me their Netflix. Well, now like Netflix is like, hey, you're not the person that owns this account. Why don't you give us money and then you can have your own? And I'm like, I just won't watch stuff from you guys.
Yeah.
As much as you charge, come on.
And they just announced this week they're upping it again.
Yep. And like they
It's
don't, mom and dad
ridiculous.
don't even watch Netflix. I'm just gonna tell them like you guys should just cancel it. They're gonna up it even more. We don't need Stranger Things that bad.
Right.
It's
The
been
thing
10
it
years since that fucking show started. I don't think that's right, but it's pretty close.
I bet it is close. I like a lot of their original content, but it's like, dude, if I had to pay for it myself, I don't know that I would watch it.
Yeah. Um, and then since you mentioned Creature Commandos, we'll talk about this. We got the first look at David Cornsweet as Superman flying in the upcoming movie. Some people are shitting on it. Some people are like, "Why does everyone not like it?" It looks exactly like how Warlock looked in Guardians. So it's like if you like that, you'll like this. If you didn't like that, you won't like this. I didn't really like it in Guardians. Don't really like it now. It's a bad camera angle. Like it looks more comical than it is supposed to be serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, would you like? Have you seen it? I'm assuming
Yeah, I
you
mean
might
it's
have.
like it's 2 fucking seconds. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, whatever.
yeah,
I don't really care.
yeah. So, James Gunn did say this is one thing that's kind of cool is like they're like, what CGI did you use? Because like Corn Sweat's got like a little bit of a lazy eye, and people are like making fun of it, and he's like, none. This is all practical effects. That's what he said. So I'm like, that's pretty dope.
That is dope. I hope that's true.
Yeah. It's like,
But
well,
surely, I mean,
actually,
practical effects can still need to like blur the camera or something, right?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming they must have like a big ass fan in Corn Sweat's face and then had him hanging up, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
But let us know down below. Do you like Corn Sweat's flight face or are you no thank you in it? All right, and then the last bit of news we have, I guess, development and production on the Bane and Deathstroke movie is being fast-tracked. So, you know, that's pretty interesting. People are still saying it's going to end up being a Secret Six movie. I'm curious who they're going to get to play Bane because it's like the two choices that, people have always said were Batista and then that dude from No Country for Old Men, but they're both too old now. So it's like Javier
Y-
Bardem
Yeah, he's
because
way too old.
yeah.
And
But
last time I saw Batista, he was super slim. I don't think he'd want to
yeah.
do that again.
Well, that's what he even said. He's like, I'm too old to be Bane. So yeah, I'm curious as to who they can get. Like because I don't know really any other Hispanic actors that are just fucking yoked. Because there's no way like you can get someone to be Bane and be like, oh, don't worry, they'll put on 80 to 90 pounds of muscle. Like that's not a thing.
Even with steroids?
Yeah, even with steroids. I mean, like they could put on maybe 80 to 90 pounds, but I mean, if you're looking for someone to put 80 to 90 pounds on in a short amount of time, pay me.
Dude, it should be the guy that played the mountain, you know?
Yeah,
I
the only
know I
problem,
know he's not
yeah,
Hispanic, but it's like that's the size of guy you want, right?
right.
I don't know what that movie would even be. I know you said Secret Six, but I want that movie to hit like um Shaw and Hobbs, like something
Yeah,
like that, you know what I mean? Where it's just like we're just having fun. These two are kicking ass, and that's it, you know?
like I really think I don't think they could one could get them to do this. And I don't think, I don't even know if they would want to, but I really think Guy Ritchie directing that would make that so much fun.
Oh, I just want more Guy Ritchie, but dude, a DC movie in that style would be so cool.
Now, have you seen The Gentleman? Because he has the show on Netflix, but then he also had the movie with Matthew McConaughey as the lead.
Okay, I must have seen the show then. And I've seen
Okay.
one or the other, but I don't
'Cause-
remember Matthew McConaughey.
all right. I couldn't really get into the show personally, but the movie is super fucking good. It's got Matthew McConaughey, Colin Farrell, um, which is like Colin Farrell is like such a layup for a Guy Ritchie movie. It's like why wasn't this done more? Um,
Oh, I've seen clips of this because
it's it's awesome.
Colin Farrell's that coach.
Yeah,
And it's got
the,
Michelle Dockery from Downton Abbey in it too.
yeah, I wouldn't know that one.
Well, the lady in the movie, that's her.
I gotcha.
But yeah, no, I need to check that out.
Yeah, you'll really like it. It's very, very Guy Ritchie.
I need to I need to find out where that's streaming and watch that sooner than later because I also
Any
over the weekend I meant to watch Spider-Man for our thing and I didn't
I
do that
know.
either.
Well, like what pissed me off, that's how I found out about the Netflix thing, because I found out that it's supposed to be streaming on Netflix. And so I was like, cool, I'll just watch it on Netflix. And then it's like Netflix is like, no, you won't.
Oh,
Pay me.
yep. There it is. It says now streaming on Netflix. Yeah. I don't know. What would be what group or character do you think Guy Ritchie would excel at if he were given a DC movie?
I mean, honestly, I think any of them, but like some more like Deathstroke and Bane and like the baddies. But like if you remember in Sherlock where he's got Sherlock breaking down stuff as the fights are happening, I could easily see that being with Batman. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
don't think Superman would be really be his cup of tea, but like any street leveler, I think he could do.
Hmm.
I just think somebody with guns and explosions would be more fun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I totally agree. All right. That the news?
that is the news. Let us know down below about, your opinions on a possible Secret Six movie or just a Bane and Deathstroke movie.
All right. Well, Casey unfortunately did not get his comics in. So I will just kind of speed through what I read this week. Um, I won't talk about all of them, but I read issues 2 through 4 of Absolute Wonder Woman. Issue 4 was out this week, so I was like, I need to get caught up. Um, Justice League Unlimited #3, Ninja Turtles and Naruto #2. This was also a few weeks old, but Green Lantern Dark #2, Dark Knights of Steel All Winter #6. It's the final issue. Uncanny X-Men #9. Superman 22 and Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu #3. Okay, so Fist of Khonshu #3 by Jed McKay and Domenico Carbone. it was pretty cool. Apparently somebody kills the Midnight Mission, which is their alive haunted house they stay
Mm.
in, which that happens so fast. I'm almost like, it's probably not dead because they were just like, we killed it. And Mark's like, you motherfuckers. And it just goes crazy without like checking for sure. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well, where do you check the pulse
Yeah, I
on
don't
a house?
know. I have no idea. Um, but anyway, he and the rest of the crew all go down to a decommissioned shield hideout. They used to belong to this bad guy that Moon Knight took out in I think it was Warren Ellis's Moon Knight. And Moon Knight's talking about that bad guy. And Reese is like, so what? You came down here and dragged him out? He goes, nope. And it pans and there's just a skeleton on the ground.
That's
And I thought that
hilarious.
was really funny. And it's got a moon thing sticking out of it. I
Yeah.
was like, man, that is really good. She's just like, oh. Um, yeah. And then it turns out that the people that were selling that new drug called glitter have blamed it on Moon Knight and his crew, and now it's all over the news and shit. And the cops and stuff are after them. So it was good. I always like Moon Knight because Jed McKay is a really good writer. Next, we've got Superman 22, which is by Joshua Williamson and Dan Mora. It's like, damn, there's not very many creative teams better than that in
Yeah,
comic
right.
books. But it's really good. It's just the people who got their asses kicked by Doomsday back in the day show up and they're like, give us Doomsday or we're gonna kill everybody. So it's just, Hera and Superman and Superwoman and Jimmy all dealing with that. And God, does it look good. It looks so good.
I
Love
just
Dan
love the
Moore's art.
fact I love that it's like, yeah, this Superman, fucking Superwoman, Supergirl, and me, Jimmy Olsen,
Well,
Superman's friend.
yeah. I mean, it's not even like that. It's
I
a
know.
subplot where Jimmy's like, I've got to get a photo of Superwoman for the paper. Like, they don't even talk to the others,
I gotcha.
but still, it's pretty cool. Um, Probably, I didn't even grade Moon Knight. I think both of these are honestly like 8.5, maybe a 9. They're good. Um, Uncanny X-Men number 9 by Gail Simone and Andre Bresson. Um, Trask makes a group of like Sentinel wolves called the Wolf Pack. And oopsie, they killed an intern because they can't be controlled. And Trask is like, well, I guess I'll set these loose on those kids, those ex-kids. So Jubilee gives the kids some money to like go buy some clothes and just be teenagers at the mall because they haven't really gotten to be kids, which I thought was pretty cool. But then those wolves show up, and I won't say anything else about it because I know Casey's gonna read it. But it was very good. The guest artist was very good too. Pretty similar to the regular artist, which is always nice. And I'm gonna give it an 8.
You call them ex-kids, but I usually just say adults.
Well, they all call them kids.
Well, no, you get it because it's like, oh, if I was an ex-kid,
Ah, you silly man.
you just hang up on me.
So anyway, it's a solo show now. Okay, Dark Knights of Steel All Winter number 6 by Jay Kristoff and Terso. This is the final issue Deathstroke and his, and Ravager and his friend Wintergreen and uh Batman, some others all team up to take down um, the Mr. Freeze of this universe. And turns out Mr. Freeze is doing this because uh Deathstroke, when he was trying to assassinate the king, the arrow like went through the king and hit Nora. And so of course Mr. Freeze had to encase Nora in ice. And then the kid ends up being able to save Nora. Like he defrosts everything and saves Nora. And um, this is going to make it sound lamer than it is, but all of, that power of love and friendship kind of ends the all winter and also changes back all the people who are like ice zombies back into normal people. So Deathstroke gets his sons back, which is pretty cool. And Deathstroke thinks that the kid should be the crown prince of, this kingdom that was ruled by Mr. Freeze. So I guess he's going to stay there and watch over him, which is pretty cool. So I liked how it ended. I was like, man, there's a lot to do in this last issue. I don't know if the pacing's going to be good. It was totally fine because Jay Kristoff's a really good writer. So I think it was well done. I'm excited to for whenever the trade comes out to just read it all again in one sitting because I think I mean it was good in singles, but it'll just be nice to have all of it there in one place too. So
Yeah.
yep, I liked it. Um I'll give this an 8.5 and the whole series probably a 9. I really enjoyed it.
Right on. Is he gonna get more in that universe? Or is it,
He
gonna be more?
hasn't said. I follow him on Instagram. Nothing has been said, but he's always like, I've got new stuff cooking, and it's always just like a new book or something cool like this. So I don't know. Hopefully he does. I would
Yeah.
like to see it. Maybe not even this, but just something else DC related, I think would
Hmm.
be cool. Um, okay, Green Lantern Dark, #2 by Tate Bromball and Werther Deladera. Um, it's fine. There's just a lot of like angst in this book between the Green Lantern who didn't want to be given the Green Lantern powers and then the kid who's like, you're supposed to be a helper and a hero. It's just like a lot of angst from both
Yeah.
sides. And it's like, okay, can we just get to the part where like you grow the fuck up and just accept that you're Green Lantern?
Yeah.
Um, but it's still neat. I like the setting and where the story's going. I just wish that it didn't take so fucking long between issues because, man, it's been like 3 months.
Right.
Um, but anyway, I still enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it a 7. Ninja Turtles and Naruto #2. I got this variant cover because it's Naruto and the Turtles inside the ramen shop.
Nice.
And there's just I don't know. I just loved all the times that Naruto and friends would go eat inside the ramen shop in the anime, so I had to get that.
Hope they have pizza ramen.
Yeah, I know, right? But it's written by Caleb Golner with art by Hendry Prasetya. The art's incredible. I said that during the first one too. It's just very stylized, but I like it. And we find out how Master Splinter and Kakashi know each other. Kakashi thinks that Splinter is somebody, but it turns out Splinter was just that person's pet rat at the dojo because, of course, he was.
Yeah.
And then the accident happens and blah, blah, blah. But uh, then, wouldn't you know it, towards the end, the Foot Clan shows up, and next issue is going to be, the team up against the Foot Clan. So it's pretty much what you'd expect of this team up, but it still looks pretty, and it's like still pretty neat to see them cross over. So
Yeah.
Um, Story though, probably like a 6.5.
Okay.
Justice League Unlimited #3 by Mark Waid and Dan Mora. Not sure when Dan Mora sleeps because the art is amazing and everything. It's not like he's lacking anywhere, you
Yeah.
know? Um, yeah, I mean, this issue is cool. There's Plastic Man's in it, which is a little strange because it doesn't really add up with his miniseries that just happened. But it's like,
I don't think that one's canon.
no, it's not. But
Yeah.
still, it's just like that's so fresh that it's like
Yeah.
still kind of weird for me. Um, yeah, this one's very sorcerer heavy. So I read #2 and #3 at the same time because I didn't read #2 when it first came out. But Doctor Occult is pretty cool.
Mm,
So it
yeah.
makes me want to like read older Doctor Occult stuff. And I don't know what's out there. I didn't really look into it. It's just like I feel like this is something that I would really be into.
Yeah, it's like that aesthetic by itself has me like, I kind of like this, you know. I have a
Yeah,
I have a feeling though it's gonna be one of those ones like how we were joking about Zatara. It's like, oh yeah, I want to get some of his early stuff. It's like, oh, hundreds of thousands of dollars. No, thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. This is definitely one of those obscure characters that Mark likes from his childhood or something.
Yeah.
But it's neat. Um, anyway, and then Aquaman goes to find Swamp Thing because they think that maybe being in control of the green will help them against, you know, whatever the name of these people are that's doing all this terrorism shit. And his Aquaman and Swamp Thing's meeting is kind of how it ends, but it was good. I like Justice League Unlimited. I think it's pretty fun, and I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
Nice.
And then finally, Absolute Wonder Woman #4. It's by Kelly Thompson with art by Hayden Sherman. And it's cool. I think the art's awesome. We get to see some stuff with like the goddesses in this, as well as Wonder Woman doing some crazy blood magic for one particular thing. And then so she goes to fight like the giant kaiju looking thing that showed up at the end of the last issue. And she does something so fucking cool with her sword. Like I need you to text me after you read it and tell me what you think. It's just
Yeah.
so like dumb, but like in a good way, dumb fun
Yeah.
stuff. So I really liked it. I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm not really sure what my pick of the week is because I seriously sat down and read like there's stuff that I didn't tell you because it's weeks old. I
Yeah.
read like 15 books this week,
Jeez Louise, dude.
but it was all pretty good stuff for the most part.
Oh man, what are you excited for?
Um, Look, we both have to say Green Lantern, right? It's like the
Yeah.
one thing that we're both reading.
No, I mean, I think all of our stuff is stuff we're reading for the most part this week because it's not much.
Yeah, I flipped through. I'll probably read this because I flipped through it when I checked it in from the box, but the DC's Lex in the City. It's a play on
Yeah.
Sex in the City, and I just like that DC has fun with books like that, so I'll probably end up checking that out.
Yeah.
What about you, man?
Now, what's the seasons?
That is a new, oh, who's writing it? It's somebody that we both respect.
Well,
It is by, oh, Rick Remender.
oh, okay.
It's his new Image series.
Yeah, you gonna be checking that out?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, there's
So,
nothing else coming out this week.
right. So I'm gonna go Green Lantern though, also, and then I'll say TMNT and X-Men.
Whenever
Are you
they
gonna,
show up.
yeah, are you gonna go with what if Galactus transforms Spider-Gwen?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
Probably not. They've been
So,
doing like a weekly Like those have been coming out weekly. I can't keep up
Yeah.
with all of it.
You gonna get the Gambit one at least? Because I know that one's I think already been out, or is it coming out?
Yeah, that was this last week, I think.
Okay.
But no, I mean, it's just a one shot, you know?
Yeah. All right. So last week we talked about stuff that we want to see revisited now from the New 52, but this time I wanted to go do four dumb things from the New 52 that you still scratch your head about.
Sure. So this isn't necessarily just like stuff I scratch my head about. It's just bad comics that I wouldn't revisit.
Yeah.
And maybe that was, also what you meant. But I think Rob Liefeld, just as a creator, like the stuff he did during that time, we've got Hawk and Dove, Deathstroke, Grifter. None of it was good.
I will say his Hawk and Dove, when he was just doing Hawk and Dove, wasn't writing, just doing the art for Hawk and Dove, it looked salvageable.
I
And
believe it.
then and then he started doing Deathstroke and writing Hawk and Dove and and then it's like, oh well,
Grifter.
yeah, and the Grifter and all that, and it's like, oh, this is getting rough as hell.
Hmm. Next I'm gonna go with Ann Nesenti. She did Katana, Catwoman, and Green Arrow. They were
Three,
terrible.
yeah, three books that, outside of Catwoman, but Katana and Green Arrow are two that you'd be like all about wanting to
Yeah.
read,
I mean I did for one issue.
Yeah,
Actually I read a few issues of her Green Arrow and I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
yeah.
And at that time I'd have read anything.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was just not good at all. And another thing that had me hyped for her stuff is before that is when I had read her long shot series. I got that hardcover and read all that, and I was like, "Oh, Innocenti is like a good writer. I'm excited for Green
Yeah.
Arrow." Right? It was so bad. Um, Next, this one's not a creator, but an idea, and that's just the Batgirl of Burnside. That's whenever Gail Simone's run ended, and Brandon Fletcher and Cameron Stewart were just taking Barbara in a totally different direction, which
Hipster
is
Barbara.
fine. Yes, which is fine. You have to try new stuff sometimes. It just didn't work for me. It worked for some people, but I feel like the majority it didn't work. But yeah, it was just hipster Batgirl. That's all it was. Costume was fine, but not cooler than like any other Batgirl costume, in my opinion.
People seem to really love that costume though.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. It's not a bad
Yeah,
costume. It's just, I don't know. I think any of her other costumes just look cooler.
yeah.
And then finally, the most egregious, I think we can all agree, is anything Scott Lobdell did. Red Hood and the Outlaws, which Casey knows, I will read anything that Kenneth Rocafort does the art for. Uh, and unfortunately, he was doing the art on that book and a lot of Scott Lobdell stuff actually during that
Yeah.
time. But Lobdell also did Teen Titans and then a stint on Superman and Superboy. I don't know of anybody that liked his Teen Titans. I think that was pretty universally hated.
And he was on it the whole time, if I remember right.
Yep. Same with
But
Red Hood. All he got to write Red Hood for like 8 years.
hmm I will say though, the one thing Scott Dill did that I liked that no one else did is like at least he was trying to do something different with the characters he got instead of like this whole universal thing. This will kind of go into one of my dumb things. Is like it's supposed to be this big reboot, but then they're like, oh, it's not a reboot, and so like Lobdell was at least trying to make new shit. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, it was shit still, but at least it was new.
Well, they only did the whole it's not a reboot thing after it was over.
No, because okay, so yeah, here I'll get started my stuff. I remember they were even saying from the beginning it's not gonna be a full-on reboot because Batman and Green Lantern. Because those two, Jeff Johns is like, I'm not starting over with Green Lantern, and they're like, Okay. Like, okay. So then everything that happened in Green Lantern was still canon. And then Batman, same thing, except they're like, we just compressed all of this stuff. So it's like Batman was Batman for a bit, got Dick Grayson, Jason died, got Tim quit, Stephanie became a thing, she died, she came back, and like this like span of like 30 minutes, like it just didn't work timeline wise at all. And like it's just, like it's clear they just didn't know like they didn't know who they're dealing with as far as like comic book continuity nerds. Because like that bothered the hell out of me, like trying to figure out. And then it's like, oh, Superman, he's been at it for a little bit. It's like how long? He's still pretty young at this though. It's like, but Batman's been doing this for years. Yeah, who knows? Like it's just like they had no set plan for their timeline. It's like, how are you doing this
Right.
whole
Well,
revamp and you don't?
I remember that Green Arrow was like 22, but then Roy was like 19. I remember
Yeah,
that one and being like,
yeah,
huh?
yeah. So stupid. They should have been like, all of the adults are 52 years old. But and then like another thing is like the random breaking up of marriages was the dumbest thing. So like Barry and Iris, they broke them up. Superman and Lois, they broke them up. Um, there's probably other ones that I can't remember, but I'm like,
Dick.
why? Huh?
Dick.
Yeah. And and then it's just like, well, why do that? And they're like, oh, because, it makes them more relatable. They're like you now that they're single, because you're gonna die alone. It's like, geez, DC. Uh, and then like getting rid of, characters that we love and then just to reintroduce them as basically just the black version of them. I'm thinking Wally. Like, don't get me wrong, when they changed it to Wallace and like Joshua Williamson like kind of fixed everything, it's good now. But at the time, boy, it was dumb. And then also taking Booster Gold, all American Booster Gold, and be like, ah, he's Canadian now. It's like, what? Then oh, another really dumb thing. You had Grant Morrison doing Action Comics, which was a prequel series. And then they were like, Grant, do your thing. And then I guess editorial, I think it was George Perez was doing, right? Was he doing Superman?
Hmm.
And then, yeah, he was doing Superman. And then I guess the editorial was so fucking terrible to George. Which it's like if you had ever met George Perez, how could you be mean to that man? He's like
Hmm.
Santa. And so they were super fucking mean to him. He only did like 3 or 4 issues and then he just left because it was like, this is terrible. You guys are just the worst. But he wasn't allowed to do a lot of the stuff. Like Grant got all this free creative control, which is like, yeah, good. George Perez deserves the same thing. He's amazing. And they didn't give him any of that. And he had to like work around what Grant was doing, but they wouldn't tell him what Grant was doing. And it was like this whole just fucking mess that, because DC, like, I think they've gotten their shit together as far as being like well ran now, but like that was the Dan Didio, Jeff Johns era. So I don't think
Hmm.
they were well ran at all. So I think that a lot of miscommunications there and that messed them up pretty bad.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm sure there's more stupid stuff, but so let us know down below. I'm trying to think of some
I
more
don't know. I
dumb.
mean, we covered a lot of it.
We did, but most of that's like the early stuff. There was still some other dumb shit that, popped up. Oh, like I know you enjoyed Earth 2. And like part of it was good, but then it's also pretty dumb, like the some of the character designs. All respect
Oh, for sure.
Jim Lee. Like he did
Um,
some of them really good, but then it's also like Jay Garrick is like the worst designed thing
mhm.
out there.
And also, like, I enjoyed Future's End, but the weekly book thing, they needed to
Yeah.
cut that shit out. And
Yeah.
then they tried it with Earth 2, and I was like, well, I'm reading Earth 2. I guess I'll try their weekly thing. It was dog shit.
I bet.
And it sucks because the artist was actually Jorge Jimenez for a lot of
Oh,
it.
wow.
Some of his earliest DC work was on that book. And it's like, man, like Kenneth and Jorge can carry books with their art alone,
Hmm.
but that one just it wasn't happening.
Yeah. And then like I'll say one thing though that we didn't talk about last week. That's a good thing. Um, the start of New 52, even though it doesn't make sense timeline wise for the way everything happened, it at least brought back Nightwing. He was no longer Grayson.
Yep, I agree.
Like
That
that was
was
dumb.
it was so dumb. I I really appreciate the passion that a lot of the creators had for their projects at that
Hmm.
time, right? I will never forget those early C2E2s where we get to just talk with Scott Snyder and Kyle Higgins, and they're showing us panels from upcoming issues of Batman and and
Yeah.
Nightwing, right? Like that's just everybody was excited for those books at the time.
What's so funny too to think about is like with Scott Snyder that first time we were like having to wait, maybe an hour, and it's like probably not even that, probably like 25 minutes for Scott Center. Now it's like, yeah, this line's capped off at the 2 hour wait point. You're like, oh shit. It's like
Yeah.
come back tomorrow. Like that's good on him.
Yeah, absolutely. And just anytime you'd see him during that show, he just looks exhausted.
Like they don't let that guy stop to breathe.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it, man. That's what we
Yeah,
got.
man. So let us know down below, guys. What are some things from New 52 that you hated or you even yeah, you can be positive about it. Like, nah, I love the fact that, Dan Didio just did not know how to fucking do anything right.
Like right forever, people.
Yeah.
That was another bad thing.
And then like one thing too is people got mad about this. Like I don't really care because it's the Legion of Superheroes. I don't really care about them, but people got really upset that that didn't last. And I think they race swapped some characters in that too, which it's like out of every group, you're gonna race swap a Legion of Superheroes when you can literally just add a new character because there's millions of the Legion of Superheroes. You could just be like, oh yeah, we're highlighting this character now.
Right.
It's just like they're like nah, we'll just change this character's race. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, a new Legion of Superhero character will be as popular as this old one. You know that, right?
Yeah. I tried really hard to like those series because they did Legion of Superheroes and then Legion Lost or something like that,
Yeah.
but it was tough. But I guess if you were a fan of the Legion, Paul Levitz did an okay job.
Okay.
But anyway, folks, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. You know, comment whatever Casey told you, comment down below about the new 52 because we like talking about it.
Yeah, we really do. Like, if I had the ability, I would 100% want to do like a documentary style podcast on it, but I do not have the ability to do that.
If somebody wants to pay us, then we will do
Yes,
it.
absolutely.
All right, well, we gotta go because Casey's gotta ride me off into the sunset. So we'll catch you next
Hell
time.
yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Two Worlds Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Two Worlds Pod, on Twitter at two_worlds_PC, and on Facebook at facebook.com/twoworldspodcast. You can email us with any questions or comments at twoworldspodcast@gmail.com. And if you would, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Two Worlds Podcast on YouTube.